Okay, I have a brand new routine to share with you today, and please stay to the end and I'll explain how it's connected to a routine I recently posted based on some brand new principles on my channel. Okay, so we'll talk about that at the end. But as you can see here, I have 8 cards of various values, suits, and colors. In fact, I'm going to have you help me mix the cards. And in particular, I'm going to show you a number of mixing procedures that you can offer to the spectator. And any of these can be done in any order and in any quantity that you like. Okay? So the first one is called the Klondike Shuffle. This is where you take the top and bottom off as one. So you can do one of those or many of those. Another one you can offer to the spectator if you want is this dealing out into 4 piles with random stacking of the top row on the bottom or vice versa. Maybe you want bottom on top and then random stacking here left on right. That's just great. Also a mange over, under can be done once or several times, as well as a mange under, over. Okay, that can be done or left off. And the final one is something called a Charlier 1. Now, if you haven't seen this before, I'll add a link in the description below, but it's worth learning for small packet sizes. And now from here, I'm just going to deal out the cards into a triangle shape here. And we'll go ahead and just stack them in kind of opposite order here. And now I'm going to push off pairs to finish. And I have a written prediction off to the side as to what I thought would happen. You have to realize that when you go to perform this, since the spectator's deciding on how many times the various shuffles are performed and in what order and combination, there is really no way for me to know ahead of time the exact composition of any of these pairs, since your random mixing very much changes the ordering of the cards themselves. So let's just take a look at the written prediction. Okay. So what did I predict would happen? Let's see, each pair will consist of 1 red and 1 black. Okay, well, I don't know how likely you think that is, but let's just take a look and see if that's true. Okay, we've got a black and a red. So one of each color. Oh, okay, red and a black. Black and a red. It's looking pretty good so far. And a black and a red. Yes, indeed. We nailed... Oh, yep, you're right. There's more. Each pair of cards add to a fortnight. What in the world does that mean? A fortnight? 2 weeks? No. 14 days. Oh, yeah, that's right. There's 14 days, or in other words, 2 weeks in a fortnight. Well, I'm assuming that refers to what these pairs sum to. So we get 4 and 10, that's 14. See, king is a 13, right? Plus ace counts as a 1, that's 14. 8 and 6, of course, is 14. See, jack is an 11, plus 3 is 14. We absolutely nailed our written prediction. Okay, so how does this work and how does it relate to a principle that I recently introduced on my channel? Okay, so what we're doing here is we're working with something called nested 2-cycle Bessey sequences. Okay, now you don't need to worry about the name itself, but the previous video in which I matched up the kings and queens by suit, that was using the same principle. But what's exciting here today is I found a much easier card handling to pull this off. Okay, so what you need is you just need pairs of cards that you hope to reveal at the end. Okay, so these could be cards that add up to a certain value. They could be of the same suit. They could both be face cards or number cards. They could both be even value cards or odd value cards, whatever characteristic you choose for your routine. So you just have them in pairs like this. And then you would just, you can randomly stack these actually. Okay. So we're actually at a good place here because this is the kind of thing I started with. It's not quite what I showed you, but so we have the pairs that add to 14 as you go across. Okay. And all you need to do to get it into this special arrangement that will allow the mixing that I showed you is you just perform this triangle deal. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, so we're just using Verner Miller's triangle dealing. So we stack in opposite order, and that will take those pairs as chosen by us or by the spectator and create something called a nested two-cycle Bessey sequence or structure. Okay, so this is the kind of thing I showed you at the beginning. Well, it ends up that this organization can be mixed in many, many ways and not destroy the underlying organization that's going to allow us to separate the cards in the way that we did. Okay, so from here you can do the Klondike shuffle, the mange of either kind, the dealing into 4 piles, the Charlier 1, and a whole bunch of other mixing procedures. And then when you're done with that mixing, to reverse this process of getting it into this organization, if you remember, I just dealt it out into a triangle. Okay, so essentially it takes a triangle dealing to get it into the arrangement that we need for the shuffles that we'll perform. And then to get it out of that arrangement, you just do that same triangle dealing. And so what that will do is it'll bring those pairs back that add to 14. Okay, so this is a much easier handling than I showed you in that first video. And I just kind of stumbled upon this, playing around with this new principle and looking for easier ways to make use of it. So if you want to take a look at the write-up in the description below, I'll give you more of the details of the mathematics driving this effect, as well as a link to the Charlier 1 shuffle if you want to learn that shuffle. So thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.